The countdown to the Putin-Trump handshake in Alaska has begun. Just ahead of the highly anticipated meeting with the American President Donald Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin held a round table with his close associates. The Kremlin says that preparations are complete for the Alaska summit. 20 close aides and top officials were present in the meeting that was chaired by the Russian president. The list includes the delegation that will accompany the Russian president in Alaska. Now, Putin's team will include the foreign minister Sergei Lavrov, his defense minister, his finance minister and others. In his opening remarks, Putin praised efforts made by Washington to reach a peace agreement. He said that efforts from the United States are pretty energetic and sincere, and this comes days after Donald Trump warned him of serious consequences if the war in Ukraine is not stopped. The Russian president will first hold a one-on-one with Trump, joined only by interpreters, and then the leaders will move to delegation-level negotiations over a working breakfast. The Kremlin says that the agenda of the meeting will be largely occupied by the Ukraine talks, and Putin's close confidant and foreign policy aide, Yuri Yushakov, has said that apart from Ukraine, broader global security and economic cooperation will also be discussed in the meeting. And after the meeting, two leaders will likely end the day with a joint press conference. The venue of the meeting in Alaska also has a lot of symbolic value. Just outside the base where the meeting will take place, there is a memorial cemetery honoring Soviet pilots and crew who died during World War II while ferrying planes from the United States to the USSR under the Lend-Lease agreements. Now, Putin's aide Ushakov noted that this year marks the 80th anniversary of the victory over Nazi Germany and Japan. Now, Putin has told his team that if progress is made in Alaska, then future talks could expand to strategic offensive weapons control that are part of his longer-term vision for peace with Europe and the United States. The American President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are all set to meet for a historic summit in Alaska in a bid to negotiate peace in Ukraine. The much-anticipated summit comes in the back of the intensifying Russian attacks in Ukraine. In July alone, Ukraine recorded about 1,674 civilian casualties, the highest since the first year of Russia's full-scale invasion. Now, Ukraine, too, is not holding back. Earlier in the day, it launched a drone attack on Russia's Rostov-on-Don, in which at least about 13 people were wounded and several apartment blocks were damaged. A separate strike in Russia's Belgorod injured at least about 3 people, and videos released by the Russian authorities show a car engulfed in flames. Now, ahead of the meeting, the Russian President Vladimir Putin has acknowledged the Trump administration's sincere efforts to resolve the situation in Ukraine and even suggested that he might be open to fresh nuclear arms control treaties with the United States, while Kremlin officials have said that they'll discuss trade and economic issues with the American delegation in Alaska.
To tell you about the stage we are at with the current American administration, which, as everyone knows, is making, in my opinion, quite energetic and sincere efforts to stop the hostilities.
Now, ahead of the meeting, Russia and Ukraine have also exchanged about 84 prisoners of war from each side, including some who Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had been held for more than a decade in captivity. But with Ukraine out of the Alaska meeting, Kiev is unsure and very nervous about its outcomes. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has ruled out ceding any territory. What is interesting is that Kremlin has cited Alaska's history to suggest that large territories can actually change hands. Trump himself has sent some mixed messages, saying that he does not expect a significant outcome from the first meeting. He said that the first meeting will actually only set the tone and the significant outcome can be expected in the second meeting. But he also made it pretty clear that the second meeting will not happen if the first one does not go well.
If the first one goes okay, we'll have a quick second one. I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself, if they'd like to have me there. And that would be a meeting where maybe it could be absolutely work. But the first meeting will not work that out. Certain great things can be gained in the first. It's going to be a very important meeting, but it's setting the table for the second meeting.
Now, Trump has also issued a warning to the Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying that there will be severe consequences if he does not agree to stop the war in Ukraine after the summit in Alaska. Now, will the threat of American sanctions pressurize Putin to make concessions, or will a transactional Trump strike a deal with Russia that will be unacceptable to Kiev and Europe?